What makes a town turn into a ghost of its former self? What drove all the residents away? Maybe the town was a loser in a regional industrial revolution. Perhaps the residents saw greener pastures east or west. Could be the town sprung to life as part of a rumored dream that turned into a mirage.
We will provide a brief glimpse into the remains of once thriving places that have become ghost towns. The answer to how they got there is up to you.
But what if it was something else? What if there was a doomed destiny from the beginning? What if there was some innate evil that drove the life from what was a vibrant town with merchants, schools, saloons, doctors, and churches? Today, we'll take a look into the lens towards the past to help understand what made this place a ghost town. But unlike most, it isn't quite completely a ghost yet.
Only ones in this area is Frank and myself. The rest of the family are in Fresno and everything like that. State Park took over in 1977, but they let my cousin stay. He still wants to go shrimping. However, there's no shrimp out there. And the fish, everything is kind of, well, you know, before the parks took over, there was all summer cottages along the road here. There were summer cottages. People from San Francisco come for weekends and everything. Well, the state park took over and everything had to be demolished.
Chinese fishermen began fishing for shrimp in California probably around the mid-1860s. The 1870 census records list 77 male Chinese shrimp fishermen living in China Camp in 15 dwelling units. As the enterprise grew in the 1870s and the 1880s, numerous villages or shrimp camps were established on the shores of both San Francisco and San Pablo Bays.
It was a busy place. We had the clam diggers that stayed for a year or so and make enough money. They went back to the old country. And then we had the shrimpers. Like I say, we had a lot of shrimpers. We sold a lot of it in the shell here. At that time, it was 3 pounds for a quarter. Now they're selling it for bait for $26 a pound.
They got that idea into people's heads that the state parks were going to be closing because they weren't making money. And the whole purpose of the state park is to preserve something for the people of California. And there was a lot of politics that were involved. Actually, some of our rangers here are different now than we had then. But they thought their job was going to be to stay here just to keep people out of the park. Things they did was the fishermen in San Francisco told them that they couldn't use those type of nets anymore. They made them illegal. And so they went to a purse seine net, which was not quite the same, but it was effective. That the salt water from the bay started coming up further and further into the bay, and the salt killed the shrimp. Yeah. And as a consequence of that, everything that lived off of the shrimp is pretty much gone.
The population grew considerably. The 1880 census records list 469 inhabitants, of whom 368 were directly associated with the shrimp fishery. Chinese fishermen used traditional boats, such as sampans and junks, for fishing. Evidence of a small Chinese-American boat building industry in California for junks and sampans constructed of California redwood have been found. Fishermen used traditional cone-shaped nets, which they periodically dried and mended on the bare hillsides surrounding the fishing village. In the early days, there was little demand for fresh shrimp in the United States, since it was not part of the average diet. For this reason, most shrimp caught were dried and sent back to China. Later, in the 1880s and the 1890s, when the demand for fresh shrimp grew in California and the shrimp industry reached its zenith in production and manpower, Chinese American shrimp fishermen came under increasing pressure from other fishing groups. Today, the lone resident of China Camp is Frank Kwan.
Now is the water diversion. The bay is essentially dead out there. It's sad. For us, it's sad. I mean, as you look out there, you don't see any boats fishing. It should be this time of year, we used to rent 40 rowboats. And this time of year, we just starting to put them back in the water for the spring fishing. Nothing. Truly sad for us, Yeah. Flounders used to be to catch 100, there's no more. Clams used to be, clam duggers used to dig 3,000 pounds a day. And they're all gone. They're all gone. I mean, the water diversion is so much damage you can't believe, and that's not going to get any better, as you know.
He continues to operate from the last pier and the building standing at China Camp. If it was up to Frank, he would be the last operating shrimp camp in the state. But he grows old, and the state will assume the park, and no other resident will be allowed to live at China Camp.